MrBeast is now not only stealing people's time, he's also stealing their ideas too. Bro, at this rate, MrBeast is never going to be able to address the allegations because they're just going to keep happening.
Everything I'm about to say is 100% true, and if at any point I say anything that may be controversial, suspect, or too good to be true, and I don't have the evidence to back it up, then call me a liar, but I guarantee you that won't happen. Ever since I was a young kid, I always wanted to be famous, and it wasn't until in 2018 of November that I knew that I wanted to be a YouTuber. Sadly, it took me 4 years to realize that I actually suck. I'm really bad. I'm super cringe, and don't worry, because I am aware of this. But I know one thing, and that one thing is I'm good at editing, and I'm great at creating ideas for others. I was meant to be off camera rather than on, and I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is being taken advantage of. I was lied to, manipulated, and thrown away like a piece of garbage. Honestly, though, sometimes I kind of think that this was pretty genius. Like, how could a person so high in status be challenged by a person like me? It's like me going to Elon Musk and saying, well, he did this and he did that, and no one would ever believe me because I'm literally just a nobody. So I have Chris Tyson to thank for allowing me to have this platform to tell my truth. February 2nd, 2024, I went snowboarding like I normally do, and I got an email in which I thought was a scam. I mean, for real, look at this. Even you would think the same thing if you got a random email saying,
"Thank you for submitting your info to our casting team." Yeah, you're right.
MrBeast follow-up, when you didn't even remember reaching out in the first place.
Yeah,
whether that's true or not, I certainly don't remember reaching out to him. In my line of work, I work for big name YouTubers, mostly in the sports niche, but it has its range. I've done videos for House of Highlights, Game Day, Zach TTG, Jester, Papa Standamus, Not So Air Jordan, and then I currently edit for MMG. Not to mention, I did do the 2022 NFL playoff commercials. So it's pretty normal to have people reach out to me because they seen my work from other creators and all the other work that I've done for them. So when I got this email, I decided to give it a chance. I responded in the email, and then I proceeded to post a Facebook post because I was so happy. Everything is dated, and to make sure this information is credible, it helps it set well with you. Pay attention to these days. It's not premeditated, and I obviously had no idea Chris Tyson would be such a perv, so there's no way I would make these posts in advance of like some kind of trick. I also have decided to log into my actual Facebook and show my actual email rather than screenshots, so you know that it's not photoshopped. So on February 2nd, I posted, so I got a job offer from MrBeast today. Video call on Monday. Wish your boy luck. Now let's go into the comments because I want you guys to be definitively sure that I didn't just make this post 26 weeks ago. All this is 26 weeks ago, and it would take a whole bunch.
You know, I find it to be kind of interesting that he's talking so much about trying to stave off people accusing him of faking it or some version of that, because if that's what's happening, it seems like the people that are defending MrBeast probably are giving people that impression now anyway. Yeah, because MrBeast tries to discredit. Yeah. No, I think that's important to keep that in mind. The end of the video is kind of sus. Well, let's get to it.
We'll see what, to just make up all these fake people, and then to go in their profile and see that they're friends with the same people I'm friends with, having what 62 mutual friends, and then going, you know, it's a little bit too much here, right? So none of these are faked at all. This is my actual Facebook page. So that's the post I made on February 2nd. Now I will go to my email, but for now I really do want to show you the post on Facebook, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. All right. So in a nutshell, before we get into all the details, MrBeast gave me a fake job, flew me out there to work. I worked my butt off, took all my ideas, sent me home, and told me there wasn't a job available. Did he pay you? And then proceeded to not only do that, but then to take my ideas still and then make a video. So that's what we're going to be covering here. I mean, we're talking about a billionaire here. If you know who MrBeast is, you know exactly what we're talking about. And I can hang up my editing tool set, whatever you want to call it, dude. That stuff. I'm not even gonna be editing for the guy. I'm gonna be using my mata. I'm gonna be making ideas for him to make videos. I swear to God, that's what my job is. It's not editing. And that's what I got from our meetings was, you know, MrBeast, Jimmy, he passes me a piece of paper that says, I blew up the world's most expensive tanks or something. Yeah. And he gives me a thumbnail that has a picture of him blowing up a tank. And it's my job to make a video out of that. So that was February 8th. On February 13th is when I went to the airport. The post says, years of hard work has led me to this. My heart is pounding out of my chest. And as you can see, I'm flying to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. And after that, take a very quick look at what I posted afterwards. February 26th, nothing about MrBeast. April 19th, nothing about MrBeast. April 25th, May 3rd, May 9th, May 19th, nothing about MrBeast. And do you know why I didn't post anything about MrBeast from that time? Is because something went horribly wrong and I was way too embarrassed to tell people about it because I had made so much noise, such a fuss about me going to MrBeast company, and then I just got kind of screwed over. So I didn't post a single thing about that. Now, you guys are wondering, I want to see the proof. I want to see the correspondence. I want to see everything that happened between you guys. I want that information. Well, yeah, I got it. So this is the first email I ever got from a guy named Dylan. I can't say his last name, so it will be blurred out for the rest of the video because I just don't want to give out his personal PI information. So we're gonna keep it on a first name basis, and we're just gonna say Dylan. Dylan sent me an email, and it says in the subject, MrBeast follow-up. Hey, thanks for submitting your info to our casting team. We received your submission at this time. We're fully casted for our current videos. That's not what we want to pay attention to. What we want to pay attention to is the second paragraph. Working at MrBeast, we are collaborative first, and I was forward your submission. Don't know how you got it, but let's keep going. If you're interested, I would love to chat about your potential full-time or contract role work on MrBeast creative team.
I'm not seeing anything wrong yet. Yeah, I'm still not seeing anything wrong.
February 2nd, 2024 that he sent me the email. It was February 3rd, 2024 that I responded to the email. I wanted to make sure after I made the post, I was like, oh crap, this actually might be a scam. Let me go back and do some research. And then the next day I was like, you know what? I feel good about this. I don't have to delete my post. So I was able to go ahead and reply to him confidently. Now this email here is my very first, I guess, direct exploration call, whatever. Basically, me being able to meet them for the very first time, like I said on my Facebook, and like I said before in the email, Monday, February 5th, 2024. My second call was not only with Dylan, but now it has Dylan, Hoodie, and someone named Kara, which I have never met. I've never once met Kara, so you won't hear anything about a Kara in this video. And this took place on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was the second call. For another email also on February 7th, 2024, this was directly right after the call I had with Hoodie, Dylan, and Kara. And within that conversation, they basically told me that I needed to make a prompt. And when I say prompt, let me just read the email. Hello, Ty. We would like for you to come in for a vibe check. Vibe check means you come in for a few days to see if you're good, see if you're a good worker, see, you know, people are not going to be annoyed by you, and see if they can move further on with the hiring process.
Fine. Yeah,
if possible,
that's totally
we'd like
fine.
to come in, like for you to come in for 3 days at some point next week. I've got a recruiting coordinator, Leslie, CC'd on this email. She will help you figure out the days which you can make it and handle your travel arrangements. Now, this is the most important email of all. What they want me to do is to do 2 video prompts. Attached, you will find 2 video prompts. Pick one that inspires you the most and document and write out how you envision it. Really let your creativity flow and assume everything is possible. So in each of these prompts,
so I think I can predict what's going to happen. I think that they're going to use one of his video prompt ideas without crediting him, and then not give him the job. I think that's what's going to happen.
Is the world's most dangerous trap room, and the other is 24 hours to spend $1 billion. I went with the world's most dangerous trap room because spending $1 billion in 24 hours just seems kind of boring and, quite frankly, linear. I think I have more creativeness than that. That's just not something I want to do. And then, like we mentioned before, this is Leslie sending me an email. Thanks, Ty. Are you able to fly in on Tuesday, be on office Wednesday through Friday, and fly back out on Saturday morning? Of course, I said yes, and she gave me all my travel info. So now we're going to get into like the more just deep in the details here. So like I said, if I don't show proof, don't assume that I'm telling the truth. If I don't show proof for everything that I'm saying,
he's wasting his time by trying to say this because people will just say he photoshopped it, but okay.
Assume that I'm literally lying about everything that I'm saying, okay? So in that email, it did say, I realized that the footage was kind of cloudy when it comes to OBS and recording the screen, so I will put screenshots of those messages up there.
Yeah, the resolution
but in the email, it did say that I had those 2 prompts, and the 2 prompts was something about spending $1 billion in a day in 24 hours, and the other one was the world's most dangerous trap rooms. So we're taking a look right here. I have the prompt, and it says the world's most dangerous trap room. And in my intro, I have PT hallway, I have the elevator, I have the Squid Game's glass challenge, I have bloodthirst, and I have mole maze. And within these things in my prompt, I do have like variations. So first one, I can see the variation. So right here, underneath elevator, I wrote one thing.
So I assume that we probably should keep track of this because this is what we're going to see in the future MrBeast video later in this video. That's what I'm kind of expecting.
Escape the elevator before it reaches the top floor.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Falls out beneath you. But I also have a second variation. Pick, lock, tool, groove, chain in the wall. Goal is the same except the elevator moves a little faster. Move the chain, object, lock, pick, tool to unlock the locks on the roof, and the elevator reaches the top.
Okay, got it.
You ever play those games where it's like a little plastic thing and it has grooves all over, like a maze, and you got to move that ball through? Well, essentially, that's what I did for this video, except you're chained to the thing, and you got to.
I don't do the 0.5x or the 2x speed, guys. I don't do it. I think it's annoying to watch. So just don't type it. It's just not gonna happen.
The ball through the grooves with the key that has a key on it, so you can reach one lock. And there's locks on each 4 corners of the elevator. So when you get this lock, now you got to go through the maze again, and now you got to go and take this lock out and lock that, so you can escape the elevator. If you don't, the whole thing just plummets to the ground. I thought that was a pretty dope idea, right? So I did that, but I also made 2 of them because I wanted to make a variation of it. So also here in Squid Games, that was another thing. I made a different variation of what was already done, and I did that. That was part of my pitch. Now, well, let's keep going down because I think it's somewhere around. I think actually no, it's the Squid Games one right here. In the second variation of the Squid Games, I say Mario style. Floating obstacle course. Instead of using floating blocks, which is impossible, we will use floating rack hoisted by 4 cranes. Floating rack hoisted 200 feet in the air. Each section of the obstacle course will change depending on the distance made. Start from one platform to another to advance. Safety harness will be eliminated due to the net underneath the platform. Now, with that, so we have an idea that I wanted to do.
My Mario Lava idea?
I want to talk a little bit more about my experience of being at the MrBeast warehouse. I've never once personally ever signed an NDA. In all my emails and all my correspondences and all my text messages, I have never once ever signed an NDA. But what I think what they're doing, there is an iPad as soon as you get to the warehouse, as soon as you walk in, and you have to sign in. And it asks you things like your first name, last name, email address, all that, phone number, and stuff like that. And I have a very, very, very high suspicion that when you sign your name in there and you sign in, I think you're also signing an NDA. They don't.
You are. So this is the same. I don't think this is really a leak, but Riot does the same thing. I've been to Riot's campus a couple of times, and I had to do the exact same thing. Yeah, anywhere where they're going to bring you in that has, like, specific intellectual property is going to have you sign something like this. It's common sense. But did they tell you? Yeah. Yeah, no, I looked at it. You could see it.
Come out and say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. That's just something that I think. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying I'm thinking because I don't want to get sued by them because I'm like I said earlier, I'm a nobody. Anyways, I get to the warehouse and they have multiple different like studios. Studios as in workshops where you work at, creative, thumbnail, editing, ideation, all these things, right? So they take me to, for legal purposes,
we don't know whether they told him or not, because like if he said that they told me, then they're going to say, well, we didn't tell him. There's no way to really know that. But yeah.
For legal reasons, I will say Studio One of creative. I go to Studio One, you know, whatever, it's all right. We're working on the video. We're doing the in 10 minutes, like actual 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, this video explodes. And I mean, this building explodes. I worked on that for a little bit. Wasn't really feeling it. Wasn't really my jam. We went out. I will put a little video up here of me working on like a little laser challenge for that. It wasn't really my jam. Wasn't really that good at all either. Anyway, if I'm being honest. So I went to the next one. And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm skipping all over the place. This was actually the second day of me being there because the first day I spent my entire day in my hotel, which was boring, but for whatever reasons, I couldn't go in the first day, so I spent the first day in my hotel. The second day is when I would start, going to these workshops. On the third day, I was told to go to a different studio. We'll say Studio 2. And I'm working on a video, and the video is, what was the video's name? It was another one that had nothing to do with anything. Anyways, I go through the whole day, or well, I say a good portion of the day, about 5 hours. So around like 2:00 p.m. there's a guy named Hoodie. It was also in one of the emails earlier. Okay. And he's like and when it comes to chain of command, I think he's third in chain of command total. So you have MrBeast, you have Tyler, you have Jackson the head writer, and then you have Hoodie. And Hoodie was in charge of all these things. I actually had my vibe check call with Hoodie. I had my second call with Hoodie. I was in contact with Hoodie and Leslie, the coordinator, if you remember that. And everything was going through Hoodie. The guy's a great guy. He's a great guy. He took care of me. He really like gave me great information, great feedback. So as I'm going through this video, I want you guys to remember, I'm not attacking these people. I'm attacking the company, because whatever happens in the company is a reflection of MrBeast. It's not a reflection of the people who are doing the things like what they're doing. Companies ran that way. It is a referral some people for the rest of the day. I want you to go work with this team and see how you can contribute to them. So let's break down the positions in the MrBeast company. You have C1. C1 is the head person of that department. So if you're in creative, you're C1. So creative, studio 1, C1. So there's creative studio 2, there's a C1 for that. Creative studio 3, there's a C1 for that. Then ideation, Studio 1, C1. Ideation, Studio 2, same thing. They're just levels. They're just like the head honcho of that department. And then within that, you also have a C2 and a C3. I assume C2 is like the person who are in between. And I know C3 is like the bitch of the company. They just write notes. They don't do anything. Like the position. Well, there was 2 positions at the time. I don't know where the third one's at. There was only a C3 and then a C2. I mean, a C1. The C1's name was C. The C3, I mean, I talked to him for like 30 seconds. I don't know what his name was. And we're working on a video. We're working on a video called The World's Most Dangerous Obstacle Course. Okay. Now we are getting to the part where you finally can understand why I'm so mad,
here we go.
Upset that I got scammed. I got absolutely scammed by the biggest YouTuber in the entire world. This is where you're going to find out why I was upset.
Thank
you. It's going to come full circle.
Thank you.
I'm
ready.
I have to tell you everything. We're working on the video, World's Most Dangerous Obstacle Course, and I want to show some videos and proof of what I did. From here on out, I'm going to start speaking more theoretically so I don't get sued. Okay. So there may or may not have walls in the MrBeast studio where they're all dry erase marker where you can just write anything. So if you have an idea, you're like, oh crap, I don't want to forget it, right on the wall. This is a picture of my pitch that I wrote. So you see right here, you get really close. Bloodthirst. Let's see. Hellevator. Let's even get close. Glass challenge right here. PT hallway. Sound familiar? It's my prompt. So this is what I pitched to Hoodie. This is what I pitched to Hoodie. And I didn't put my variations in here. I just put the ones that I wanted. And I verbally said my variations just in case they didn't like my original ones. This is the world's most dangerous obstacle course. So C1 has been working on this with me and the other guy, I don't know his name, and we're working on, like, as you can see, the intro, the hook, the money mechanic. Right here, we're looking at, this is the most important part, it's just rooms. When I saw rooms, when we were brainstorming rooms, I'm like, dang, okay, rooms. I just did a prompt on the world's dangerous trap rooms. This is perfect. I can do this. It doesn't exactly follow the obstacle course, so I can kind of use my room idea with this. I mean, if you look at all these ideas, whatever, it doesn't matter. The one thing that I'm looking at the most is all the way at the bottom. It looked like it says Marlo, but it says Mario. Mario is my was my idea. I'm inspired by Mario because my kids love the Mario movie. They loved it so much they named my dog.
I don't think that if we're gonna use the argument that because MrBeast did something with Mario that he stole your idea, I don't think that idea is unique enough to be certain that he stole it just by itself. Yeah, I don't think so, because Mario's super popular. Like, I could easily see that happen.
Mario, hold on. Mario, come here. Good boy. This is Mario.
No, it's not. It's a dog.
Living proof that my kids named my dog Mario because they love the Mario. They love the movie Mario so much. So I was inspired by that, and I think I put that in my prompt as well. If anyone's ever seen Mario, they have the floating blocks, and I wanted to see how I can make an obstacle course with those floating blocks. I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I realized it's just impossible to make floating blocks in the air. I don't know how you would.
Couldn't you just do it with like the chains being green and then just green screen them out? Like, I feel like that's the way you would do it, or you could do it with perspective and then have the perspective where they're actually attached to something, but based off of the camera angle, then they would move in the same way. Like, that would be the only way that you could do it, I think. That's my idea. Wait, did I just steal another one of MrBeast's ideas?
Do it. Logistically, it's just not going to work, and physically, I don't think it would work either. So I came up with the idea with the truss.
But that would be fake? Yeah, so it would work.
With the truss. Taking a look at this picture right here. So this was my idea here. I wanted to make an obstacle course in the air, but like somehow incorporate it with the Mario idea.
Right.
Somehow I don't know. Somehow do that. This is a picture that I drew for this pitch for this idea. Yeah. And I realized that, you know what, I couldn't do the floating blocks, so I wanted to make sure I can do it another way. So I had an idea of a truss with 4 cranes holding it up, and I wanted to be able to go across it. That was just the first section of it. Because if you look a little bit more to the right of this picture, there's like a helicopter and a guy hanging from a ladder, and there's platforms down here, 1, 2, and 3. There's platforms right there. That was just the first section of it. I wanted the intro of the video to be something so outlandish, so crazy that a viewer had to keep watching. I did steal the no net at the bottom. I call it a net, or no, not no net, a net down there. That's why it says a net down there, because it's just a joke that we thought was funny. But I did steal that from one of the other Mac videos. I just figured, why not? It makes it such much of a better video. So I pitched this idea, and they absolutely loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it. The only person who didn't like it was C1, because it wasn't her idea. So when it came down to our meeting later that day, so we were there for hours and hours and hours, and like I said, there's a hierarchy. There's MrBeast, Tyler, Jackson, the head writer, and Hoodie. Well, Jackson comes down there and we're having a meeting at 9 o'clock at night. The meeting goes all the way to midnight, and then they say at the very end, we're gonna need all hands on deck on this. We're gonna need the help. We're gonna need the creativity. We need everyone to pull their weight. Does anyone have anything that's gonna help us, with this? And I told them my idea. I brought up every single thing, not only just this idea, but the rest of the video. They loved it. The budget was originally 1.7 million. That intro alone cost 1.7 million dollars. Just the intro alone. And the reason why I didn't want to bring it up immediately was only because if the budget was 1.7 million and I'm here to prove myself, I can't start with going by over budget. Say, well, it would work, because who they're going to trust? You're going to trust someone who works there for months or weeks, years, or you're going to trust some guy like me that just flew here a couple of days ago. So it was a little risky, but they loved it. We stayed to midnight. They freaking loved it. Got a pat in the back. Jackson was excited. Hoodie was excited. The only person who wasn't excited was a C1 that I kind of stepped over, because like they say in the company, it don't matter if you're C1, C2, C3. C3 can be a C2. C2 can be a C1. C1 can be a C3 by tomorrow. All right, so at this point, I've pitched my idea. They love it. They've set a date.
I do think he did himself a pretty big disservice with this video by not making it shorter and more concise, because I think that a lot of people will lose interest and like not really listen to it. It's really, because like I do the same thing that he does a lot, where like I'll always come up with like a lot of like tangents and like, oh, well, there's like this other thing and I forgot about this, right? And like one thing that I've always respected about like Charlie, Moist Critical, is that he can talk about a topic for like 10 minutes and pretty much cover everything. And like if you make videos and you do a lot of stuff like that, it's something for me that I always have a hard time doing, right? Because I'll always have something else I want to say, or something else I want to bring up, or like a personal aside. And I think that whenever you do that in a video, it's very hard for an audience to like follow along with it. And it can feel very tedious, because people are just there for the information. And so all of the fluff that you add in there just definitely, it wastes time, right? That's it. The guy's way worse. I'm not talking about, like, I'm just saying, like, I've had the same thing myself. So that's why I understand it.
To the location, and now they have a renewed budget for this video, and everything's great. I'm so happy. I text all my friends, I call everyone, I'm like, yeah, dude, and also, so after all that, I'm feeling great. I got a verbal confirmation that I was good to go. Everything was perfect. I know about everything was literally perfect until I got home. Until I got home, and that's when everything started to happen. Unfortunately, we have decided not to move forward with your candidacy at this time. We really appreciate you coming out and vibing with us. We would consider you for a role like this in the future, but timing isn't quite right. And the rest are about receipts. So at first I was like, you know what? Maybe that's true. But
so
then I started to think about it a little bit more. I started to think about it a little bit more, and I didn't want to let it bother me. I didn't want to let it bother me. So I said, hey, Dylan, that's a bummer to hear, but I appreciate
not giving him the job was scummy. I don't think that's scummy at all. Like, you hire somebody, you fly them out, you see if things work with them. I don't know how he vibed with the community. I don't know how he like got along with them. Maybe they didn't like him. Like, that's the way a lot of interviews go. Yeah, of course. It's absolutely scummy. Really? Why? So, like, you can't have somebody on in a company for a trial period? Is that bad? Like, I don't think that's bad. I think there's a lot of companies that do that. They hire you on for, like, a trial, and they see if things are going to work out, and then they don't work out. Now, it's scummy if he doesn't get paid. That's a really great point. If he doesn't get paid, then it's scummy. If he does get paid, then it's fine.
Maybe another time, like you said, candidly, may I ask if I presented myself poorly or rubbed the crew wrongly in any way? Talking about here, because I know I did. Also, I sent my receipts, and this is talking about my dog, because I spent like $4.
I assumed that he did get paid. The reason why is because they asked about receipts for reimbursement, But if he didn't get paid, then yeah, they absolutely fucked him.
My dog to be boarded. Sent all that information. He said, hello, Ty. You did not rub anyone the wrong way or present yourself poorly. We're going through some reorganization with the team and are limited on roles
well,
we have open for teams.
Even if
I appreciate
did.
you sending a receipt, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whatever. This is where I started to like say, but I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at all. Not a single word until I saw this on Twitter. Just uploaded the most insane video we've ever done. Go watch. Take a look at this picture. Take a good hard look at this picture. Does that remind you of anything you've seen so far? Does it remind you of anything you've seen remotely close to it? Or does it look like the exact same thing that I drew? The exact same thing that I pitched? Everything. Do you want to know how much I got paid for that? Zero. I didn't get paid a single dime. This man, this company, his employees not only took the time to exploit me, to have me work for them under the false pretenses of a job that wasn't, that they weren't available.
I'm, I always usually try to come at things skeptically. So having the idea of an obstacle course that looks like Fall Guys, I don't really think is as abstract of an idea as he might think it is. I could see a lot of people that would come to this same conclusion, whether it's something that's like Ninja Warrior or Squid Games, American Gladiators, right? Yeah, I don't think that this is really enough proof. And if you look at the diagram that he made, it's really not a 1-for-1. Now, it's close to a 1-for-1, but it's not a 1-for-1 at all. It's Takashi's Castle. Yeah. A lot of things are like this. So whenever I see it, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, wow, I'm sure that this happened. No, I don't think that's a guarantee. Now, what I do think is indefensible is to fly him out and then not compensate him. I think that they should compensate him for doing that. That's definitely true. Please, you're reaching. They scammed him. It's a common practice. They got free work out of him. Yeah, but like, so, and that's really what the problem is, right? Is like, you're talking about this from this topic, from this perspective. I think that you're right. So you can't use their work. You absolutely can use their work. Like, there's nothing that says that you can't do that. What do you mean? So I think that really the problem here is that he wasn't paid. I think that they should have reimbursed him and they should have paid him for this. That's the reason why it's wrong. But like, the action itself isn't bad. Does that make sense? Like, if you get paid for something and you provide, like, this is very common. How many of you guys, whenever you work at a company, all of the things that you do at work for the company when you're being employed by them, even if it's temporarily, are property of the company? I think this is very common practice in basically every company that deals in any capacity with intellectual property. This is the case in every circumstance. As far as I know, all of them. Yeah, digital work, yeah. So I don't really see this as being something unique or evil with MrBeast or wrong. No, it's still scummy. I mean, I could see it being scummy. That's common practice I experience in my industry. Yeah, okay, well, let me go ahead and just explain it. I think that if he was paid, you're just oh my God, you're just a shit-talking retard. I didn't even realize that. But okay, yeah, wow. He was literally a volunteer. Yeah, I think that inviting people out for volunteer work, if you're promising them the premise of a job and then not compensating them, especially whenever they have to fly and travel, I think that he should have been compensated for going there. I do think is it exploitative or not? It's very hard to say, but it's definitely something that I don't really like. I think it's problematic. It seems like they set up a travel for him. Yeah, but like, there's still time that he invests into doing it, right? They paid for his flights, hotel, and his dog's board. Yeah, no, but I do think that he should be paid for doing it, right? Like, if you bring somebody out and that person is working for you, then they should be paid for working for you. It's really simple. I don't see how this is complicated at all.
Are able to give at the time, yet they had many people go in and out. On my second day, there was like a different group that I saw.
A lot of people are saying, like, if he didn't sign a contract, like, I'm not talking about it from a legal perspective. Legal perspective, yeah, probably MrBeast is completely covered. I'm just saying that it's kind of scummy. That's all.
the day before, and then they were on their last day, and then on my last day there was a group of people that was their first day. You're trying to tell me you didn't have any positions, at all, yet you had all those people, and not only did you do that, you used my idea. A lot of people would say, you know what, legally he had the right to do that. I don't know in what legal standpoint he could. I could be wrong, but let's think about this though. We're talking about a billionaire. We're talking about the world's biggest YouTuber. How is that so hard to just compensate for someone for some work? How hard is it to compensate someone for their ideas that make you millions and made me zero? I don't care if it was legally done or not.
I don't think that it should have been for the idea. I think they should have paid him for coming out and working there. I think the idea of unpaid internships are exploitative and they're bad. No, I don't think it's a good practice. And I feel like this is the case with MrBeast. Now, and this is not about whether MrBeast like is legally like accountable for this or not. I think it's probably that he's not. I think we can pretty much all agree he's probably not legally accountable for it, but it's still kind of scummy, and it would have been better, like, if, like, for example, like, if this guy had gotten paid for going out there and had received, like, you know, a per diem, basically, then I would say he has no grounds to make this video at all. And it seems like a bad idea to take people's video ideas whenever you're running such a big company and then not pay them at all. It just seems like very, very bad.
Like, think about it. We all have hearts here. We're all watching YouTube videos for the same exact reason. How messed up is that? You're a billionaire, dude. It's not like it's I'm some guy on the street, or you're some guy on the street. You're a billionaire, man. Pay people for their ideas. Don't just fly them out there.
Even if MrBeast wasn't a billionaire, he still should have, like, this has nothing to do with like whether he used your idea or not, or whether MrBeast has a lot of money or not. It has to do with the simple fact that if you pay somebody money, or like any of this happens, like, yeah, they should be compensated for that time. Or if you have somebody do work, you should pay them for that work. It's not complicated. It doesn't have anything to do with whether they use it or not.
Ideas and send them home. You're giving these people false hope. You're taking their dreams from them. You're taking everything that's about them, their creativeness, their fucking imagination. I'm sorry, I'm actually getting worked up right now. You can't do that to people. You can't do that to people. And on top of that, with everything going in the media, it just kind of shows his true colors. It shows the true nature, your character of who you are. This ain't it, man. This seriously is not it. This is just part one, because I believe part two will shock you, and I don't want to get to the point where I have to do part two and I really have to expose a lot of things that might get me sued. So I'm working on something right now. I know this may sound really crazy because, you know,
I mean, I think that, like, from my perspective, I'm not convinced that MrBeast stole his idea. I think that there's a high likelihood of it, but I don't think that likelihood is above 90%. I think the idea of doing that is so generic that, like, and also if you look at the video, it's really not one for one. Like, same dude, it's kind of blurry. Yeah, exactly. So I'd need more proof than this.
I'm asking for money, and that's basically what I'm doing with MrBeast. I want him to pay me. He owes me this money. He owes me this. He can't, like, you can't.
Yeah, he should give you the money that you worked there for that day. He should, because you did work for him. And if you work for somebody, you should get paid. Yeah, I don't know. Is that $150? Like $300? I don't know. Right? I mean, yeah, definitely. $200. Yeah, he should 100% get paid for this.
Keep doing this to people. You can't do this. So I'm asking you guys, if you believe everything that I've said, there's without a doubt in your mind, you're like, you know what? I like the proof. I like what I saw. I want to help this guy out.
Well, this wasn't proof. It was evidence. I don't think that there's any explicit proof that happened, that they stole your idea. It's just, there's just not proof. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just, it's not there.
Help me out. I'm going to start a GoFundMe. We work too hard to be stomped on by these guys, to be trampled by these people in power. And who's the one that benefits from it? Think about it. Who's benefiting from this? Me or MrBeast? It ain't me. So please support your boy.
How are you going to say, like, I mean, how are you going to say it's not me who benefits from this and then link a GoFundMe?
Let's just hope I don't have to do a part two. I am, though.
Yeah, of course you have to, because, like, and number one, you'll get a lot of views for it, so you're going to do it for sure, right? And number two, like, I don't think that this video has convinced me at all. Like, I'm really not convinced. The only thing that I'm convinced at is that MrBeast should have paid him for flying out. That's the only thing I'm certain of here. Everything else, I really can't say.
I actually am. I have so much more proof to go to. I have text messages. I have everything.
This is really rubbing me the wrong way now. Yeah, he did a really bad job with this
Everything
video.
I'm about.
Yeah, he really did a horrible job. I think that he shot himself in the foot with this in a number of different ways, and I think it's problematic, right? Because, and I'm sure other people might not say this for like whatever reason, but MrBeast ex-employee number count is 362, is not suicidal. Bro, 1.7 was the what do you call it? Was the budget? So where's this GoFundMe? Okay, there's no GoFundMe in the link. I'm truly sorry. Every penny is being wait, he refunded everybody from the GoFundMe? Every penny is being refunded. I wanted a way to have people that rock with me support me. It was a bonehead move with truly no malicious intent. Again, I deeply apologize. Again, all I care about is getting my story out there. I never thought this video would do anything like this. I was happy knowing that someone knew, even if it was 100 people. Okay, well, I mean, if he refunded the money, then I think that's a good thing for him to do. Like, for sure. He wanted 1.7 million. He put a GoFundMe out for $1.7 million. Oh man. Oh man, that's crazy. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. Yeah, there's no proof that it's his idea. It isn't his idea. It's Mario, Squid Games, and something that they've done before. The guy acted like he deserves a lot of money from MrBeast because he said a few words. Well, I think he deserves to be paid for the day that he worked. Right? I mean, that's definitely fair. And I think that the idea of flying people out and then having them work with you and then potentially using their ideas, I'm not saying that they didn't use his idea. I just don't think that there's enough evidence for me to say that, yeah, I knew this happened. So, yeah, the GoFundMe goal of $1.7 million really rubbed me the wrong way. You know, I'm something of a MrBeast employee myself. Dude talks about how good of an editor he is, goes to the first blurred name, says he won't reveal the name. Respect. The blur messes up and it shows clear as day. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, I mean, I think this guy basically had a fully automatic machine gun and he had it aimed at his foot and he held down the trigger for the entire video. That's what I think. It's disappointing because I think that he has a point with like what he was doing, but he brought up so much stuff that wasn't relevant or was like tangential that I think he lost a lot of support because of that. And it's disappointing because like he does have one or two good points in this video, but they just get overshadowed by the bullshit. I'll be right back. But yeah, it's really disappointing that he did that because I feel like it definitely, like, when something like this happens, what it does is it makes it to where now every other person that comes out and talks about MrBeast, if you paid attention, the way he said he's a billionaire, you'd realize it was money he was after all along. Yeah, no, look, I get that he was after money. I think that everybody can see that. It's obvious. It's just that I think that he just made himself look bad in, like, all these ways. Makes him look like an arrogant ego tripper. Yeah, there's the video. I don't believe the dude now. He just wants money. Yeah, and I think, by the way, if he makes a part 2, he should just totally move past this because people have already decided that are, like, going to doubt him. They've already decided that, you know, he's, like, a bad actor. That's it. He was way too emotional. Yeah, he was. We acknowledge the email he showed shows that he received a W-9 tax form. He got paid. Okay, so this is my opinion. If he got paid for the work, he has no basis to get mad. If he didn't get paid for the work, he's justified and he should have been paid. It's that simple. I don't know how many different ways I can re-explain it. He refunded everything because of backlash. Well, that's a good thing. I'm glad that he did that. It was smart for him to do that. He wants royalties. That's what he's crying about. Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's just not, like, that's not the way any company works. Like any of those other C1, 2, 3, or 4 people, if MrBeast uses their idea, he doesn't owe them royalties either. That's just not how employment works. But yeah, that's pretty much it.